Where I left off in part 1 is where I'm gonna pick up from. Picture eyes, it's 4 AM, Nick is sat in cuffs all night long just waiting. Sat in reception, beside the police cause he's been sectioned under the Mental Health Act. But they ain't got no bed or place to send him, morning time's descending. Nick's so tired from all these thoughts he's entrenched in. He's exhausted, like the resources that are there meant to help mend him. He hears some noises, followed by the voice of the doctor on call. Hi Nick, we're gonna give you this medicine, any problems just call. But doctor, aren't I section? I'm sorry, we made a mistake. There wasn't any mistake, they were just absolutely full. Dreadful, don't get me wrong, I know they care, I'm more than aware it's out of their hands. I'm pointing my finger on my hand elsewhere, fam. Our healthcare's champ, but our health is bad and the budget shrank. I know that doctor would have loved to have helped, but he went home sad. Maybe that won't do his head no good, in my head that's mad. But back to Nick, the poor young lad, no fixed abode, no bank account, nowhere to go, just wandering round, wondering how one will sleep sound. Brave boy, but so cold deep down. Rain, snow and sleet, sweeping the streets, is he gonna freeze? He's freaking freezing and his feet are so tired, he's weak, needs to eat, got no diet, that's dietary, needs be what needs be. Survival is Nick's key, but the mind mischiefs doesn't help him miss lunch, breakfast and tea. He's struggling now, the sound scream. He dropped on the floor in a heap on the street and got picked up by the police, and the police took him straight back to where he just got released. Where is the sense? That baffles me, that does indeed. The whole time Nick's fast asleep, unaware he is sat next to police, completely out cold. Exhaustion has took hold, he begins to dream as the police's radio sets beep and beep, triggering some nightmarish flashbacking post-traumatic imagery in Nick's mind. Rewind, 4-year-old Nick. Nick only knows what his parents look like because he remembers the night that they died. Told you it'd probably always be stuck in the back of his mind. A dead mum and a dead dad at bedtime, that's dead sad. And then Nick screamed in his sleep, sat slumped in his seat, deep torturing mental scars continuously breathe. Never fades, so it seems, the pain is real, ever so. Remember in part 1 that prison officer James on the day Nick had toothache pain? Yeah, well, I only told you about that one occasion. Let me tell you about another whilst Nick is still sleeping. In fact, this is actually what he is right now, this very second dreaming. The officer sat next to him, radio still blut bleeping, just like James's radio was on Nick's first night in that children's prison. That night, James entered Nick's cell and told Nick some things he did to other prisoners in other prisons. I think it's very possible James gets some sort of sick kick out of scaring kids, you know. Anyway, James and some old colleagues back in 2000 all thought it would be funny to play games and place bets on the outcomes, knowingly pairing a white racist kid with an Asian kid, which tragically ended in death when the white kid broke the pair cell's table leg off one night and proceeded to batter the poor Asian kid to death. Basically, James told Nick not just this, but lots and lots of things. He said he also remembered Nick's dad before he went and died. Nick looked very surprised. He died of a heroin overdose, didn't he, Nick? Yeah, and my mum did too, said Nick, on the same night. Yeah, I know they did. I knew them too like no one did, but no one knew I did. I sold your dad heroin that day he died, I did, and it looked all off colour. And your dad joked and said, what did you do to it, lol? Do you know what I did do to it, Nick? No, said Nick, who has turned a pale greyish colour by this point. I cut it and I poisoned him. I didn't know your mother was gonna pin up half of it. I thought your father was gonna do all of it. James, stop, shut up. Just you watch who you talk to. But I'm scared, James. Excuse me, girl, can you come here, please?
What's going on here? What are all these tears for?
I was trying to sleep and then, James.
Don't talk back. Evidence report.
The system's flawed. I said it before, I'm Droppaman Norwich. I only talk real, my subjects are honest. The reason I've done this 2-part story is because I think it's horrid how poor the system is. I've studied hard and read reports from the past 30 years. I have some personal experience and I've watched some others experience some of their experiences, and I've come to the conclusion that if you send a child into a place full of violence and abuse with no rehabilitation, rife with bullying, gang wars, spice, they're full of it, then the already damaged child's life is not going to get much better, is it? That's me done. I just hope that there's a system check, for real. All bars, what I said is bar 5% correct. I just kept some identities concealed and tied together the rest. Remember what I said about that Asian kid who got beaten to death with that table leg? His real name was Zahid Mubarek. True story, G. Rest in peace, Zahid. Let me just lastly say about Nick now, 6 years on from when he fell asleep and had that dream beside the police. About James, the system, his mum and dad, even Sharon Wellfellow cropped up at the end of Nick's dream. Haha, Nick had the last laugh though. He now owns a business and is clean. Miracles do happen. He somehow broke system free.